Hello, volunteers. Welcome to this brief tutorial to help you participate in the Monkey Health Explorer project. In this tutorial, we'll demonstrate what we believe is the best workflow that you should use when completing the Monkey Health Explorer task. There are 2 additional tutorials that we suggest you watch. One will help you learn how to identify each of the 5 cell types that you might see during a task. If you want to learn how to discuss a specific slide with the site's researchers and other volunteers, please watch the tutorial on using the Monkey Health Explorer talkboards. Let's get started. You can access the Monkey Health Explorer website at this address. Scroll down to view an area entitled Get Started. If this is your first time at Monkey Health Explorer, we strongly recommend that you click the first workflow labeled Beginner's Practice. This will bring you to a series of slides where you'll have an opportunity to identify and mark the white blood cells that you see and see the answers to learn how well you did. We'll go over all of the various tools that you can use to mark white blood cells in just a minute. I want to bring your attention to the 2 circles right in the middle under the slide. These circles will toggle the view of the cells you've marked and the answers showing correctly identified cells. I'll show that to you again. Your answer. Correct answer. When you're ready to mark a new cell, click Next. After you've done enough of these test cells that you've got a good idea of how things work, you're probably ready to start working in one of the actual cell sets. Click your browser's back button to return to the home page showing the workflows that are currently available. They may be slightly different than what we show in this tutorial, but the one you want to click next will always be labeled Identify White Blood Cells. This displays a stained slide showing blood cells. Before we go any farther, I want to show you what will probably become your best friend during this project. On the far right side of the screen, you'll see a tab labeled Field Guide. Open that tab and you'll see a wealth of information right at your fingertips. These guides provide excellent examples of cells to compare to when you're trying to figure out what a cell is. At the bottom of the field guide, there's a link to a printable version of these guides. I've found it really helpful to have these 2 printed pages in front of me when identifying cells. Most of the cells you'll see are red blood cells. They're the ones that look like donuts. Depending on the stain used, they might have a dark border around their edges. Don't worry if these are the only cells you see. We're looking for any cells that are larger and/or darker than any of these red blood cells, or ones where we can definitely see a darker mass in them. These are the white blood cells that we need to identify. Before we start, let's have a look at some of the tools that you can use. The ones just below the slide allow you to invert the image, display the image's metadata, mark the image as a favorite, or add the image to a collection that you're keeping for a project. Before we can use any of the other tools, we need to select the button that best describes the overall spread of the cells. Are they too sparse with lots of white space? Or too thick with some overlapping of cells? Are they evenly spread? Or is the image too blurry or has too much debris? These cells are evenly spread. So let's choose that one. Then click Next. Notice how the task pane changes. Now let's have a look at our main toolbar. Annotate basically lets you select the specific cell you want to identify. Pan allows you to move the slide around. Zoom in allows you to get really close up to the cell, and zoom out takes you back. You may not use the rotate tool very often, but it's there if you need it. Reset zoom levels will take you back to the original slide magnification. Let's select the first cell we want to identify. To make it easy, we'll use the Pan tool to position the cell in the middle of the screen, and then increase the magnification using the Zoom tool. Now we want to select the Annotate tool, the arrow, and click right in the middle of that cell. A pop-up window appears asking you what type of white blood cell this is. You can watch a separate video that explains in detail what each of these cells looks like. The field guide has a link to this video. But don't worry about being wrong. Just do your best. Other volunteers will be doing this same task, and if there's no consensus, the researchers will take a closer look. For now, we're pretty sure that this is the lymphocyte, so we'll click that button. Click OK at the bottom of the list. Let's reset the zoom level to get back to the original magnification. There's another cell at the bottom of the slide, so we'll pan down to center it in the field and then zoom in. We'll do the same thing we did for the first cell. Select the Annotate tool, but this time choose Neutrophil as the cell type. Click OK. Reset the zoom level and notice that there is yet another white blood cell at the top right of the slide. Even if this cell was cut off at the edge, if you can still identify the cell type, let's go ahead and mark it. Pan, zoom, annotate. Identify the white blood cell type. This is another lymphocyte. Reset the zoom level and have a final look to make sure you haven't missed anything. We're almost done. Check that the number drawn matches the number of white blood cells you can see on the image. Then click Done. If you have questions or want to discuss the slide with the researchers and other volunteers, click Done and Talk. You can find a link to a separate video in the field guide that explains how to use the project's talkboards. So now that you've learned how to identify and mark white blood cells, we invite you to join in. Happy hunting!